if you'll invest this kind of time into your kids where they're positioned to succeed, like you think of all the different ways you can help them succeed, it encourages them beyond words.
Well, they want to do more of it. They want to do more. I mean, already they're like, oh, you know what? At church, I could serve in this area now. Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are super excited to keep chatting with you guys today we're ending the last one talking about the top 5, what that means, how we prioritize our top 5 and our family life and what's important to us most. And Greg was kind of chatting a little bit about how this works in our family. So I'll let you kind of finish up your thought before you forget it there.
Yeah, I mean, just for context, just as a specific example. So, we were invited in to run a leadership event this weekend with some other folks. And, what that does, it helps us lead people that we have within an organization. And, we train and equip people and help people go out there and win at their levels. It also benefits us along the way. And so it's a powerful thing. It really does have a lot to do with impacting our finances, making a difference in people's lives, etc. But when you go back to our top 5, and one of our top 5 was, being financially independent in multiple different ways. Well, the other one was raising confident, well-equipped, godly, entrepreneurial kids. See, you can put all 5 of these goals down, but if you don't put them in a priority level, you probably are going to you're probably going to find yourself being overwhelmed and maybe potentially burnt out trying to accomplish all 5 things. That's like 90% of our clients that show up.
Right. And not being as creative and free in all areas because you're overwhelmed trying to prioritize some of the wrong ones in the wrong way.
Yeah. So let's just use an example. Financially independent, multiple different ways, earning a blank amount of money per year. You fill in the blank on that. Raising confident, well-equipped, godly, entrepreneurial kids. Tight, unified marriage is another one. And maybe it's, I know one for me has been wanting to be surrounded with high-performing friends, right? And so if those are the 5, and then once you start doing arrows, okay, what's more important, earning blank amount per year or having a tight, unified marriage? Okay, I'm going to draw an arrow to that. Whatever ends up, you go through each one of these against each other. Wherever you have the most arrows is your top priority, okay? So for us, if in this season, our top priority, number 1 is raising confident, well-equipped, godly, entrepreneurial kids. Maybe number 2 is earning blank amount of money per year. Maybe number 3 is tight, unified marriage. Maybe number 4 is surrounded by high-performing friends. Maybe number 5 is financially independent in multiple different ways. Well, now you keep that in front of you as what I call your guardrails. You're trying to race down this highway, but you need to have some guardrails on the side in case you start drifting. Either way, that can keep you in the middle of the road. And so for us, this conference came up, and
but reiterate, reiterate, you can have all 5.
That's right.
Yes.
The goal is to have all 5.
Correct.
Right. We're not trying to say, okay, well, even though in the exercise we say if you only could have one or the other, the goal overall is like to get all 5. Now, right. What we've learned and what we've experienced ourselves, and we've coached just I don't even know how many people, and it has unlocked their life, is that when you put these in the priority level and then you actually invest your energy, okay, that could be time, investment of money, whatever, into accomplishing each of these things in the priority level that you choose. It's amazing how quickly you can accomplish all 5, right? If you don't do it in that priority level, it's amazing how long it can take you to try to get these things done.
And unhappy you'll be.
Right.
We have found so many times you'll actually accomplish the one that you didn't really want as your top priority. And you would think you'd be jumping for joy, right? You accomplished blank that was in your top 5, but it wasn't like your top 1 out of the 5.
Yeah.
People end up feeling actually saddened by it. They're not as energized by it. They're not as appreciative of it. They're not as thankful for the work they did. They are actually super sad about it.
Right. So like for instance, let's say that you had a number in there, you want to earn blank amount of money per year. And really, when you do this exercise, it turns out to be number 5. However, you put about 80% of your waking hours towards accomplishing that.
Yeah.
Right. So what can happen is within the next, 3 to 5 years, you accomplish your financial goal, but your marriage isn't more tight and unified. You've missed on 40 years of opportunities to actually equip your kids, to help them become more godly, to help them be more entrepreneurial, because you were so focused on the one thing, hoping that if I earn this much money a year, all the rest will just fall into place. And when it doesn't, it's like one of the most disheartening things you'll ever experience in your life.
Yes, we've literally seen people, like I said, so upset. So we just always encourage the people that we're coaching to make sure, number one, you're honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself, and then be honest with your spouse, so that you both know where each other are at when you go into this exercise together.
Yeah.
And then prioritize your time correctly so that you actually accomplish what you want, not just what you think is the right answer or what you think you should be doing.
Yeah, for sure. So now to use our example of this weekend where we had this conference. This conference helps us with the different levels of, top 5. It helps us be able to get closer to a certain amount of income that we want to make. It helps us be able to create a level of success in one way, amongst other ways. But our number 1 is raise confident, well-equipped, godly, entrepreneurial kids. So even though this is a conference that can do multiple things, what we tried to do was prioritize how can we leverage this conference, even though it's going to do these other things, how can we leverage it to help us equip our kids better? Because it would have been so easy to say, you know what, this checks off 2 or 3 of these things. And gosh, the kids just might just kind of be a burden during this. But because we stay within our priority, we're like, all right, how do we see the opportunity in this?
And mostly a burden, not because our kids are a burden or anything like that, but mostly just because there's a lot on our plate.
Because of all the rest of the obligations
right.
that we
There
have.
was multiple obligations for a couple days. And then you add in bringing 6 children along with us, preparing mentally, emotionally for the whole weekend. Sometimes life doesn't stop, as we all know. I mean, once a mom, always a mom. So life is still happening in the midst of also taking on a weekend. And so if we're already going and we're speaking, sometimes in the past, if it wasn't our number 1 priority that we wanted to bring them along, it would be easier to leave them back maybe. And I will tell you, when they were young, we didn't take them to many engagements like this because it wasn't really lining up with what we were trying to accomplish specifically for them to be in a position.
Well, because they weren't mature enough to
Correct.
actually really be able to learn from the positions we would put them in.
So if you're like, well, my kids are like, 7 and under or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, we totally get that. That was us for a long time, is that actually bringing them wasn't really going to help them accomplish what we wanted to for them or for us at the time. We had to do more one-on-one work at home with them versus bringing them to events.
Right. So a few things that we did, at this event, because, you got to remember where our kids are 14, almost 15, our oldest, Chrissy's 13, Drew's is 12, all right, Ellie's 10, Hunter's 5. So what did we do? Well, we were speaking at this event. We were training at this event. So we made sure at least the older 3 came to almost every session that we wanted them to come to so they could learn from it. They could be in that atmosphere. They could also see us perform, right? See how we do it. See how we prepare. Even during the week or so beforehand, as I was, coming up with some of my talks, I was having conversations with the oldest 3 girls about this is how I'm going to connect with the crowd. This is how communication works. This is I'm not going to try to overdo anything. I'm going to have a couple of key bullet points that really are going to impact their lives. I'm going to keep myself thinking about who's in the audience and how I can best serve them. Like, there was so much intentionality behind explaining to them versus just show up and hear us talk.
No, lots and lots of prep work. Like, again, if you're thinking, oh, this sounds like a great idea, I'd actually like to bring some of our children with us. I will tell you many things that we do ahead of time is tell them what the schedule is going to look like, prep them what the talks we're going to give, make sure they understand where we need them to serve, like how they can help to make this weekend, what kind of clothing to wear and what to come, prepared with, what I mean? Bringing their notebooks to take notes, like, what it looks like when people want to communicate with us, how you can help assist with the younger kids. Like, we do a lot of prep work. So once we get to an event, we're not doing correction the whole weekend, because our goal is for us all to be there making a difference and growing together, not to have to correct our kids the whole time and regret bringing them.
Yeah. Another thing we did is for us, we like to do a Sunday service for people that stick around, extra after the conference is over, and just pretty much share our testimony and be able to teach faith into some people that maybe have never heard it or want to be strengthened in it. And so we prepped our kids, like, we want you to be part of this. This is a foundation of who we are. And so, we let them know that we'd like you to share on a topic or so of something that's really impacted you in your faith journey. And we told them, though, like, how long, like at least a week before, right? Maybe a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, I think it was a couple weeks, actually. We let them know.
A couple weeks. And we're like, okay. And I said, you got maybe a minute or so each. And, well, what do you want me to say, Dad? And blah, blah. And, in the past, when they were younger, we would give them a little more specific directions so they felt confident. But now we're kind of like, why don't you tell us in a couple of days what you're thinking? And then, honestly, they told us, we said, okay, now come up with 60 seconds of it. And what they do, they end up coming up with what they want to say. They would practice on their own, right? And then come up. You want to say something?
Well, a lot of them actually had been studying stuff that was on their heart.
Yeah.
So when they came up, they were already overflowing, excited to share what they've been learning. And of course, the older, about 4 of them, like, rocked it right away. And then our last 2, Ellie she was wonderful. This is one of her best, opportunities that she's done so far, where she had a chance to speak, and she really took it to the next level. And I know that's from the example that her older siblings have done for her. And then, of course, even Hunter taking the time to make sure that she told them her favorite scripture that she loves. And it was like, of course, she can't go on and on about, what she's learning in the Bible right now. She doesn't know how to put it into words or anything like that. But just for her to even do her own favorite scripture, everybody was super happy to hear from her.
Right. And then after they shared, you should have seen the feedback, and everybody was just like, oh my gosh, it was so impactful. But we also had them share in an environment where we trust the people in the environment.
Yes.
So we knew that there was going to be positive feedback coming back to them. Some people like what they hear from someone, but they never say anything. We try to teach people that you should always tell people. And so our kids are getting flooded now with like how great they did.
Totally.
And being built up. And it's different coming from a different voice versus just you and me. And so now their confidence is going through the roof. They really did nail it. Like, they sounded like professional speakers, which warmed my heart. I recorded it all as a proud dad, but they just nailed it. And I know that they're getting a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be able to become an effective communicator, and which can then therefore positively influence people. And so all of these things, they weren't just random. We planned them. We planned to put them in these positions where all of these dynamics would happen. That way, therefore, when we're talking on Monday about all of the 100 things that went so well this weekend that made a difference, that helped people, probably the most important one to me, and to you, I'm sure too, was that we felt like we checked the box of taking advantage of an opportunity to raise confident, well-equipped, godly, entrepreneurial kids, right? Even Ellie, she had made up some different lotions that she had to figure out how to make, and she's there and she sold some. And then the girls are making their hair clips with their, that they personalize and make from scratch. And I was pushing Chrissy. She had 4 or 5 left, and the weekend is basically over. And I'm like, go take them and ask people right now. She's like, you mean just walk up to them and ask them? I'm like, yeah. And here's some of what you say. And she walked up. I don't know if she sold them all, but she sold some more. But it's just like every little opportunity we can to teach them how to be entrepreneurial, and to watch it come together. And, the thing I've realized is, if you'll invest this kind of time into your kids where they're positioned to succeed, like, you think of all the different ways you can help them succeed, it encourages them beyond words.
Well, they want to do more of it.
They want to do
do
more of
more.
it.
I mean, already they're like, oh, you know what? I think at church I could serve in this area now. Or I think I might try to be the captain of my tennis team someday. Or I'm thinking I might want to go with you next time when you talk. I think I could talk about this,
Yeah.
and they just start being creative. I mean, so many of our kids, I say it all the time, they make us look real good. You know what I mean? Because they just work so hard.
They do.
But so many of them have so much more confidence than, any of us did. I mean, we probably all can look back on our childhood and think, gosh, I wish I had had a personal coach to walk this. And all of our parents did amazing job. That wasn't it. But I mean, when it's our field, this is what we do. Yeah. I mean, you can see that the kids are thriving from it.
We'll finish this with this thought. I'll tell you, so if you have kids and they're getting to be an age where they could possibly perform a little bit, but let's say they're shy, or let's say that they would naturally just grab your leg. Well, that happened with us too. Like, we didn't have one kid that didn't feel like that. They didn't try to avoid it because they're nervous at first. But that's our job as parents. Like, let me give you a different perspective. I want you to go try this. I want you just to say this. Like Hunter right now, we tell her what to say, basically. She memorizes it, and then she gets to go say it. And then afterwards, she's like, oh my gosh, everybody thought that was awesome. I want to learn how to say more stuff. Right?
I know, I get that question a lot. How did you help your children to be able to communicate so effectively? And how did you, were they shy, of course? And yes, naturally, I think most children kind of are at first when they don't know people. And then how did you then train them up on how to actually...
Sounds like a great topic for our next episode.
All right.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.